Sarah, can you do a roll call, please?
Sure can.
Thank you.
Tom Sonic is absent, so Carrie Netto,
Here.
Amanda Black,
Here.
Stacy Maher,
Yep.
Emily Hague-Wynn is absent, Lisa Ritchie,
Here.
C. Yang,
Here.
Cecilia Garacki is absent, and Lisa Wong.
Here.
Sarah Lang.
Here.
Perfect. Everyone get a chance to review that agenda. Does that look all right? Any changes, edits, thoughts? Sarah, do we motion to adopt the? Okay, can we have a motion to adopt the agenda, please? Ooh, perfect. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Whoa, coming fast and furious. Yeah, that was, did you get that, Sarah Lang?
Yes.
Okay, whew, I'm glad you did, because that went
Is your
quick.
microphone on?
Me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, is that better? Okay, I'll eat it.
All right.
As I said the other day at work, and that was really embarrassing. Okay, approval of the minutes. These are lovely minutes, Sarah Lang. Thank you so much. Did anyone have any edits or comments on the minutes that Sarah provided? Hearing none, can I get a motion to pass the minutes?
I make a motion to pass the minutes.
Awesome. Can I get a second?
I will second.
All right. So moved. The minutes are great. Meeting open to the public. Hey, there's nobody here. Do we have anyone joining us online?
Online.
Okay. So no public hearings. So I think we're down to our commission business project updates of our subcommittees. I'm going to flip over to these gorgeous minutes from last week and look at all of our subcommittees. So our ACC work improvement plan. So I think our number one is our Project Snowy update. Is that right?
That would be us.
Yay!
Yay. So, let me pull up my Project Snowy update here. Okay. So in the packet, we did include a Gantt chart. I'm not sure if it came out well. Yes. So if you have good eyesight, you'll be able to read and see that we kind of our group came up and talked through kind of like the pieces, the major pieces that would be involved in Project Snowy, and then we kind of put assigned some times to them as far as like what might take the longest, what what we would need to consider, and so as you can see, like a lot of the things can't start until we have a fully drafted purchase agreement, which is when we can then start making partnerships with the people who want to purchase. And so that, I believe, is still in the works. And so we tentatively outlined it to like start in April. And then everything else would then line up after that. Like there are some like smaller things that we could do, but really like things can't start moving until like we know who can purchase, therefore we can then make these purchases, and then we can also know about the artists doing the work for them. And if you could see, we on the packet, times will likely lead out all the way into like August, September, for things to finally be in place. So these are the major things. Hoping that folks can kind of take a look. There are still some things that we haven't fully clarified yet, but we can talk about that next. And so I'm going to pass it to my friend Stacy, who can talk a little bit more about the purchase agreement part of it, though.
Thank you. I'm trying to pull up notes myself to see. What we need to talk about. So the purchase agreement was circulated through the city, and it's attached and included in the packet here. There's been a lot of back and forth. We've answered most of the questions, I think. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to find our notes that we were supposed to have to talk about today, and I'm struggling.
Oh, no, that's okay. I think that's pretty much part of it, but just that,
It's kind of like, yeah, we're kind of, it's a big project. There's some legalese and legalities we're waiting on responses from the city on.
yeah, including the encroachment, which I know you said that we would have to include that.
Yes,
I don't
which
know if
that has gone through council. It's all set.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been approved. And then they did not waive a $50 fee for Snowy. So, but that is final.
I think that was our biggest blockage on the purchase agreement side. Now that we can have that included, although we still need to figure out some cost things.
Yeah, I mean, do you have the language to plug in, or is that what? You
We can certainly do that on our end. Yep.
And then, I was gonna ask Tom, but Carrie might know. Did we need a vote on the first? Oh,
That was one of the things I needed to ask. Do we need a vote to approve this?
That's probably a better question for Sarah, but I don't think.
I
from a
don't think so.
Committee point of view,
No.
why would we need I mean, especially if it's gone through legal at the city level.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important
We're
thing.
advisory to the city, essentially.
Exactly.
And so if the city has seen this with eyes on it.
That's right. Remember, Soren says we don't truly exist. I think this is great. I mean, this looks exactly like what we would use for the county, so that all looked wonderful to me, and I'm sure whatever encroachment language they want to pull in looks great.
That was going to be a question. So I know we spoke previously about the committee potentially absorbing, or the commission absorbing the $50 cost for anyone that would apply to. I did speak to Brandy, our community development director, about that, and she said most likely it would need to come out of our budget as arts and culture. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that if we do decide to go down that path, we would then be paying the $50 for the first year.
Should we make a motion for that? Like in the event that we want to cover that, we as a
I mean,
commission?
it doesn't hurt. Yeah, we can certainly do that. Have a motion.
Okay.
yeah.
Do we want to do that?
It's $50 per
Per year?
snowy per year.
But only for the ones on 7th Ave.
It'd be 7th or anybody like in a strip mall or something.
The public right away.
Right. So not too many businesses, but
And so I
Enough.
think the expenditure would potentially be $500
That's the figure I was just thinking.
per year.
Well, but we're only covering the first.
Yeah, I would say you only cover the first year, but make it known to them that would be an extra cost every year.
I think that's good.
Shall we make a motion to, the Arts and Culture Commission will cover the initial year of the encroachment fee, should one be required, anticipated total expense $500.
Great, yeah.
Can I get a motion to do that?
So moved.
Any seconds?
A second
Oh, fantastic.
Perfect.
Great, thanks so much. All in favor?
helps us.
Okay, good. Did I do that for the other ones? I feel like I didn't.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
No, we forgot to do that earlier,
Should we
but
do that for all the other ones?
sure.
Okay, do we have any oppositions to any of the motions we've approved so far tonight? Great, everything
Wonderful.
passes. Okay, other questions I had, this artist service agreement looks really good too, but it looks like on your Gantt chart that was still in process. What is left to do on that?
Finalization and answers from the city.
Gotcha.
They just had some general questions that we answered as best as we could, but they just have to be comfortable with our answers and move forward. And what I'm going to do now is actually pass the mic off to Amanda, who's going to lead us on a discussion about project barriers and potential concerns.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm here to ruin everybody's day.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, let's talk.
The Snowy project has been large, and I've only been a part of it for 2 months. And from the perspective of a 2-month baby commissioner, yes. I don't see a way forward to launch Project Snowy this year. In order to do everything right and to do it well, I think we don't want to launch in September like the Gantt chart shows. I would suggest we launch early in the summer, which would mean that pushes things back.
Okay, can you talk us through how that would look based on these milestones on the Gantt chart?
Yes. I also have a list of requirements, I guess. These are questions I put together based on if we can answer 90% of these questions, then I believe it would just be a smooth process forward. And I know Lisa Long has some feedback on this. I do have Sarah's comments on these forms as well. Lisa was going to meet with,
So Brian, the city manager, is going to pull together a team to kind of answer these questions. I believe Community Development Director Brandy Howe will be there as well, and Finance Director as well, to just kind of sort out what the logistical hurdles might be. Obviously, there was a lot of that came up here, and so they're going to just try to work it through and see what it, what they can do and what that might look like.
much of what we're looking at is who's going to be responsible for each part of the project. Not saying that can't be me or anybody else on the commission or in the city, but once we know who would be responsible for things, it's just much easier to say, okay, we're at this point, this person needs to go ahead and take that.
Makes sense.
And what this kind of piggybacks off of from before Amanda's time is Tom's tutorial on project management and accountability. And so having these accountabilities in place, like Amanda's pointing out, will help with efficiency.
So, I'm sorry, is that,
The red are Sarah's responses.
gotcha. Okay, thank you
There's
so
an
much.
extra one, I think, Sarah, if you want it.
Fantastic.
Okay.
yes.
Great.
In terms of the first one, trying to get artists, I saw that some of the art schools might have some students too that could be an option too.
For sure. Yeah, I'd have to look up where we posted this previously. I know I had pulled from a couple of databases on different places where we posted it the first time. So we could pull that again and see what other places would be good to add to that list. And does your subcommittee have suggestions on who would be the main contact for artists, or who would be kind of the program manager of this?
No.
I think we need to report
That would be the city.
Oh,
That
I
would be the
see.
city staff.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think what we were also talking is that, it would be better for us to also push back just because of the amount of work I think that would need to go into this. I feel like just from working with Stacy and Amanda these past couple of months to kind of get this together, that in itself, it was a lift. And so we would definitely want to find ways to get help to do this without, breaching the open meeting law. And a lot of it is also like questions that, we just don't know, like we don't have the authority to make a decision or like determine. And so, just trying to interact with the right people to get that information in itself already takes time within like the volunteer time. So.
No, this is great. I think, and personally, I think this dovetails perfectly into the list that Sarah put together of community organizations that maybe we can tap into. So not only are we not rushing the project, but we can be more thoughtful in incorporating community in building out the project. So,
There's also, right now, we are trying to get the final cost back together because we're not sure if that final cost is going to hit the 5,000 that we are projecting or if it might be over.
sure.
So a lot of things that we still need to figure out with there. Sarah pointed out that we may not be able to paint the snowies, or we might have difficulty finding a location to paint the snowies due to their weight. She reached out to Roseville, and they had used space at the state fairgrounds.
Well, so what their program did too, and I don't know how much if you guys have ever done research with them or, and they're willing to do a Zoom call too if we want to talk to them. But they did all of their roses at the same time. So they went out and sold them and then had a date of May or June or whatever. Had them all delivered at the same time. Artists could go in there and paint all together. It was like a community event. People could stop by anytime they wanted to check out the roses, and then they had them all placed at the same time too. And I thought that was kind of an interesting take on that too, rather than going one-on-one with businesses.
Yeah, and I think logistically it makes everything a whole lot easier and probably less costly.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know we were trying to get this done, but if we, yeah.
People are okay with pushing with it not being this year for the actual launch, or
I mean, it's sad, but I think we'll all live another day, don't you?
great.
It's important though for the project to be successful, and I think where we kind of came to terms with the scope of this project was we could probably each spend 40 hours a week on this project.
Of course, yeah.
And this is, we are all in volunteer positions, and if we could do it, we would, but it's just not feasible for each of us to dedicate that large amount of time.
That's totally reasonable. Like, oftentimes this is, things staff do, and in other cities there's, more staff that can do this work. So yeah, I totally can understand and appreciate all your work and time and energy into this.
And with the minimal staff too, like we don't want to burden
Yeah.
Sarah and
Throw the
friends of
entire
the city.
project
Public
Because yeah, Public Works is doing it all. I mean,
voluntolding
tell
them. I'm
them,
just kidding.
but- yeah, but genuinely speaking, it's not reasonable to expect staff right now to take on the project in the previous iteration of the timeline. So pushing it out helps, hopefully.
Definitely does. Yes.
So define full programming, I'm guessing that is this document or a portion of this document. I'm just making sure I understand the Gantt
We
chart
don't have the full programming actually defined yet.
because we need answers to these questions.
Kind of, yeah. Or the answers to these questions will help us define
Yep.
that.
But it sounds like we do have the fully drafted purchase agreement.
Yeah, it's
Yes, now that we have the encroachment language that we could put in there, that is a complete.
That's complete.
That's
And
it.
then,
And then the only other thing we need to is the cost, right? We got to put in there what stipend we're willing to give. So I think we're just waiting on that.
Fourth correspondence with Hart from Tivoli too, and he's been wonderful, but I haven't gotten as far. I might have to actually pick up the phone and call him, to be honest. I think that would actually be more effective.
and then
Email.
the business association partnership discussion. What is that? Is that talking to the North St. Paul Business Association?
Yeah, because last time they had said that they they would like to partner and they would like us to present to them.
Oh, that's right.
After a final purchase agreement was made.
Right, right, yeah, okay. And then soliciting businesses for purchases, that's still to come?
Because they need a purchase agreement before we can ask if someone wants to
To buy. Yeah.
Sorry, Lisa, did I talk
Oh.
over you?
I just have a question. Is there any way we could incorporate some kind of language that leaves the price open to whatever the cost is at the time? Because I know if we wait another year, it's going to change.
That's a great question for our legal team.
And certainly pass it along, something along the lines of cost plus whatever set amount we want to do. Yeah, I can certainly ask that. It's a great point.
Or perhaps cost can be broken down to the Tivoli bill plus like a relocation fee that is part of this, like the extra fees, but
Yeah.
maybe get creative. That's a good idea to get creative on the pricing structure so it's not a barrier.
10%, 15% more.
Yeah.
I mean, for administrative costs, right?
And then the complete artist RFP write-up, it looks like that's for March, but maybe we don't have that yet?
We put this Gantt chart together
Early, yeah.
February probably, because there's February
yeah,
on here.
yeah.
So we haven't adjusted it with some of these
Things
changes.
have
Gotcha.
changed. Yeah, we've
Yep.
since learned quite a bit too. Like, for instance, artists doing the work, it could be shortened to, like maybe a couple weeks instead of 4 or 5. So there's like changes we could make. But others that might need to be dragged out just because we want to do some administrative work, build in administrative work time.
It takes a lot to build a snowy. I mean, look at Anna and Elsa. It took a while.
And when we're ready, the question will be, do you want to build a snowman? Sorry.
Great.
The puns never get old.
Okay, any other questions or thoughts about the Project Snowy updates? Anything else the committee wants to report?
Maybe. A couple of things that we've talked about in our subcommittee, but maybe should be discussed here as well. Shoot, I had 2 in my head. Oh, one would be as far as choosing artists for the Snowy. Now, again, we're not doing this for a long time, but just wanted to gather everyone's thoughts on whether we as the commission will go through applications and kind of do a ratings chart to choose artists, or if you want just our subcommittee to do that, or options there.
That's a great question. Yeah, because initially we were going to do it as a committee, but now that we have subcommittees. Thoughts?
I'd kind of like to get Tom's feedback on that.
Okay.
Good idea. He does work here too, doesn't he?
Doesn't work here today.
If you just want to move forward, that's fine.
It was just something I had in my head.
Well, we've got some time to figure that out, I guess, so we don't have to make the decision this instant, do we?
No. I do want to also clarify something that I did run past Soren, is that as far as us working with the Business Association, a big part of putting together that flyer was to have the Business Association give them something tangible to pass on to businesses
Yep.
locally. I did reach out to Soren, asking him if, as the commission, if we are able to also get out and approach businesses ourselves, and he does not see a problem with that.
Oh, good news. Thank you for asking that. Awesome. Good. Maybe that'll give people some more time to raise the money for their own snowies.
I would also probably like to touch base with a Citizen Furlong, and I think he would be a great person to have around town sharing the Snowy project. So
That's an excellent idea.
I will contact Citizen Furlong when we know that date,
Perfect.
and when the flyer's done.
That would be a lot off our shoulders too,
Yes.
if they could.
Oh, yeah.
Citizen for long.
I mean, there's essentially like, there's multiple problems we've identified, but as far as executing the project is concerned, once we get to the flyer part, it's gonna go one of 3 ways. No response, the response we're expecting, or way too many, like, more interest than we're ready for. So hopefully it's more interest than we're ready for, but cost could be a huge deterrent for many people to participate in, but we can't control that. Right. So,
Anything else?
One thing, just for thoughts, because like because of the sheer size of this project, right? I anticipate Amanda, Stacy, and I to potentially encounter more questions or like things that we might need feedback on, and I guess like that's just a comment more so, like, because we'll reach out to the city, Lisa, but we'll just have to wait to let you guys know at our next
Well,
team meeting,
I guess
or let Sarah mass email you guys.
I wonder too, does it make sense to maybe do multiple subcommittees underneath Project Snowy? I mean, I don't want to take anything, don't want to duplicate effort.
Right.
But if there's something that could be spun off and,
It would just be hard to collaborate, because I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's my husband. Okay, sorry.
I think she's
Safe
lost
space,
it.
C,
Yeah,
safe space.
That's fine. It's fine.
Just public, right?
Tom's watching from home. It's great.
So, Lisa was also, we talked with Lisa about this as well. And, like if it made sense in the future, maybe we could do like a one-off meeting with a full group to like workshop
Absolutely. Yeah.
Project Snowy
Yeah.
so that we, like are all on the same wavelength and
Yeah.
can help. Because I feel like, when we start to get to this like media part, I know Carrie will do work, but I know we got Emily as a
Emily's so
resource
great,
as
yeah.
well. So
Well, maybe.
in the future.
Sorry, I keep getting excited with ideas, and I got to stop it.
Here.
Perhaps, do you think for April we could update the Gantt chart, and then maybe we could find like what is the sweet spot when we'll need to have some additional meetings scheduled or some, more time together just
Yeah.
to help with that lift.
We'll work on that.
Great.
I feel like now that we have officially said this is not happening this year, it's a big weight off of our shoulders. and we can look at
Absolutely.
this a little bit more logistically and
Yep.
rather than rushing things.
Lisa Wong unmuted, so I have a feeling she has something to say.
Well, yeah, I guess then Brian and the rest of staff can postpone their meeting then, or is that something that's still? I mean, it's not urgent
It's
at
not
this point.
urgent, but I would still like them to get something soon. Yeah.
I think their input will be critical in helping
Yeah.
us make a plan to move forward.
Yes.
I will speak with them tomorrow.
Sorry to sound so.
No, that makes
Part of
sense
that
too. I
plan
just
too-
wasn't.
I'm sorry. But
ahead.
part of the planning with Brian and staff, from a strategic operations perspective, is workloads are gonna ebb and flow. And if you know this plan, even though it might not be ready to be executed or start to really come together until the fall or until after when we're anticipating, there's still work that can be done ahead of execution date that can be woven in a lot easier if we're not on like a 2-week deadline to what current city staff's workloads are. But it does warrant like minimal updates, and since we're meeting once a month, that's enough to remind like, oh, I'm gonna need, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, I think that'll help keep things balanced a little bit.
Yeah,
Sarah, any negative impact of delaying from your perspective, from the cities?
I don't think so because communication has been so minimal so far about this to the public. I don't see any issues.
Okay. And no one's like, oh my God, we can't wait for the snowies to be up. We need them now.
No, I think we're good.
Okay. I mean, obviously you
Yes.
want them, right?
Yes,
The
we do.
community knows it's coming because we were in the parade and then it's outside City Hall.
Yes.
But that's the most we've communicated about this.
Does the one outside City Hall have a date on it? Just says,
Just says North St. Paul Arts and Culture Commission, and it's mooning
With
the
a
street.
beautiful logo. Beautiful logo.
It is. It's eye-catching.
also, if it's in the next year, then there's opportunity to look at, kind of your budget and what, adjustments you might want to make depending on how the program might turn out.
Could that mean
So
like
it'd-
potential to subsidize some of the costs, or?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay. Moving on to our mural project. Lisa Ritchie, do you want to explain what we did for that, or do you want me to do it?
I think it'd be best if you did. I was involved with it, but you did all the work, Carrie.
Oh,
you did.
yeah.
You did.
Tom did a real heavy lift with that one. So we wrote and submitted a grant to Minneapolis Regional Arts Council for $15,000. Who knows if we'll get it, but did a lot of work to put that together, and hopefully that comes through. So we will keep you posted. We are looking for some other funding ideas to get those art projects started. Yeah. that's about it. Not as cool as this Project Snowy update. Boy, Gantt chart and everything. Oh my gosh. All right. Utility box wrapping.
That's us.
Woo!
I know Emily couldn't be here tonight, or I hear, yeah. We had anticipated going on a trip with John Wick, our electrical director. However, weather got in the way.
Yeah, my schedule got in the way, so.
No. Weather got in the way. So I think, although I asked Lisa to talk about it, since we don't have much to talk about it, you do have the map.
I love the map.
Great.
a beautiful
And Lisa, sorry, I'm just going to talk about it real quick. Okay. On the map, you can see there's, we circled some of them, and the map itself was provided by our electrical director. And he highlighted the ones that he thought were the most high visibility. And it turns out to be about, was it 11, 14? I forget. But, you know, like some places had multiple boxes to them too. And so we sent out an initial ask for 3 of them because we had the dimensions for 3 of them just to get like an initial quote. And I think that's also included, right? Yeah. So the quotes should also be included in this funky looking spreadsheet. And under the cost, you could see that it ranges from like 1,000 something to over 3,000.
Wow, that's a big.
I know, and I know Sarah provided some feedback, which I'm just like, holy heck, I mean, I need, yeah, it's going to take some time to, you know, look up some, to get more information from these folks. But, you know, like, because otherwise we were,
Is that as far as like what's included in that pricing?
say that again?
You said more information from these folks.
Oh, more information such as like what, you know, like what their experience is in wrapping them. But they did provide information regarding like costs per square feet of coverage and like installation. And sometimes it costs them to come out as well. Like that's a separate cost by the hour for, you know, like to hire them. And so, seeing as like 3 of them already costs, you know, up to like over 3,000, we probably can't do like 11 electrical boxes this year. So we'll have to prioritize which ones we want to do. And we talked about it and we picked 5 of them. So there's one by the school, one by the Holiday gas station.
I'm sorry, by school, you mean high school? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. One by the high school, one by the Holiday gas station, 2 by Roddy's, and then 1 right outside the bookstore. I believe the one by the school is going to be pretty big, so I think that's going to be quite costly. And this could, in total, be, gosh, I don't know, up to $6,000 of our budget. I know Sarah had shared we had budgeted $4,000.
Yes.
But I don't know if we have extra money to cover 6,000 or something.
Well, was there money allocated for Project Snowy? That could be.
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. Let me take a look.
Great thinking, Lisa.
Project Snowy had $1,000 allocated towards it.
Now we're only $1,000 short. We can do it.
So yeah, we'll have to get final costs, but they said it'll be more cost effective to do all of them all together versus like doing one at a time.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And we can then also build a program out of if we were to wrap them all at one time, right? Like kind of get like a media hit, something else.
Carrie would love that.
Yes.
What about the what will the image be? Or did you have a thought of how?
Yeah, we will be getting to that.
Okay.
So just as an update, Lisa and I will be going out on a visit to these boxes to get more information, such as like what can be wrapped and what can't be wrapped. And then also get final dimensions so that we could get those quotes. And eventually, as far as like the quotes, if the ACC does not have any objections, our subcommittee will just pick one.
What's the city's process?
Yeah.
of picking a vendor at
I mean, with the cities,
$6,000?
city's approval.
6,000, I think, just needs approval from the city manager.
Makes sense. 10,000 is the new limit.
So we'll just go through the city and not through ACC for final pick. If
As far as vendor, yeah.
yes,
And then, okay, yep.
great. And so, I'll let Stacy talk about the other part.
So our subcommittee met at Roddy's to meet with the owner of Roddy's for stewardship and to get a better feel of what Roddy's was looking for. And what, especially because there's two quite sizable boxes right in front of Roddy's,
Which you can see on
which you can see in the attached images, yes. It was a great chat. It's a really fun atmosphere. We learned a lot about the history of Roddy's, like it's named after a boxer. Didn't know that. Still living, too. But,
Oh, wow.
and the owner of Roddy's is very invested in the history of North St. Paul and has actually the original picture of downtown North St. Paul that has the original Max in it that they bought from the original Max when the original Max shut down. So it's kind of an interesting connection with their new competitors across the street because there you see the original Max right in Roddy's. So that's kind of fun. But they were very I mean, the meeting was fun. It was they're going to be a great partner and really easy to work with. They really would they want something that's similar to Love's Ice Cream, Instagrammable, something that's like good for social media right outside their bar that can attract business. They shared future plans of updating their sign, but keeping it still with that same feel of like that old school feel. They have a really good relationship with the North St. Paul History Cruisers. And so they were looking for a vibe that's kind of the sepia tones, paying homage to whatever, but they're really open to suggestions and art. And so our next steps for Roddy's is once we do solicit our call for proposal, we'll try and come up with some proposed suggestions. Our subcommittee will, or we can, if others on the commission want to make suggestions too, like very open. They would like to see and like kind of have the final say in the final pick relating to those specific utility boxes. I think the idea I had to politely dissuade from was putting their brand on the boxes because that like violates sign ordinance rules and puts us in a position that we don't want to be in. So outside of the branding concerns, they're very open to all suggestions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then Emily's not here tonight, and she was going to talk about our programming and timeline.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit about that.
Great.
So we chatted about the programming, and like we wanted community involvement, right? How could we get them involved? So we definitely want them to provide some voting, like to be able to vote on what art goes where. Not the Roddy's. I think Roddy's will be kind of like a ACC decision or like a subcommittee decision on what goes on it, but the others, like for instance, the one by the school, it would be great to have our art that was picked by the community and for submissions, I think we're going to follow along a similar path of what we're doing for Project Snowy, which is like we're going to call for artists, have them submit, and we'll kind of like theme them out. Like, for instance, student submissions or, like more senior submissions.
Older
or
adults.
Older adults submissions, things like that. And so then we can then have a variety and have kind of like a full community type of involvement. The timeline, I don't know, I didn't see her timeline, but I know we're thinking of getting something done by summer so that we could wrap them like in June. But it's TBD. Our committee still needs to meet, but it's a matter of kind of getting this information up. I know Emily messaged Sarah about having Carrie start like a web page, or kind of start getting the information out there so that we can start getting involvement. So the art itself, I think, is photo. No, sorry. Could be anything, but eventually it just has to be digital so that we can get it to the vendor to print. Any questions regarding that part of it? The programming, I'm sure I didn't do justice because Emily wrote up a beautiful piece on it.
I think should be included in the language that Carrie puts out to promote this is you'll have to get the specs from the printer of what resolution the images will need to be, just so that it works.
Yes, most
If they
definitely.
can provide a template, that's usually really helpful.
Okay. I think, and I think it'll kind of depend also on the shape of the box because they're all so different shaped as well.
With that, do we have a new date that we're looking at we want to meet with John Wick? You guys want to go out with him? Or do you want to TBD that and just let me know?
We don't have to do that right now.
Well, let's talk to you after. Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
The other thing, what Emily sent me, I know that she suggested a Google form for the artist selection with the open meeting laws and all that. We're going to suggest we do that in our system, our OpenGov system. That also allows people to upload as much as they want on there. We can also create drop downs so they can select if they're a student or if they're an older adult or whatever categories we do want. So if you want to send me ideas on that. Carrie also has a survey system available as well that we could send out to the entire city to help pick art at that point when we're ready for that too.
Yeah, so I believe reviewing the communications plan that Emily put together, the art submissions will fit into one or more of a number of categories, which include historical, North St. Paul imagery, North St. Paul resident achievement, cultural, nature, general submission of youth artists, general submission of older adults and community. Because we only have 4-ish or 3, depending if we count 2 outside of Roddy's. So we've got 3 boxes that we're initially going to be doing a call for artists on. Okay. It might be helpful if there's any feedback on what might be the best 3 we should choose, and then we can do that call for artists. I think the idea is that we collect all these submissions, and then the commission, right, picks the top 3 to vote on. We want the subcommittee to pick the top 3 images.
Unless this group feels strongly
Different.
otherwise.
Different, yeah. So to keep the project on a timeline, we would select as a subcommittee the top 3 images from 3 categories. And then that's when we'd want to blast the community to vote for the winner for each of the 3 categories, except for Roddy's. That one is, as C mentioned, kind of our special snowflake. Deservedly so.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question about Carrie and websites, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it bulky enough where ACC has a web page that can also lead have a calendar or have updates on all of these projects, because a lot of what we're doing is public focused. And so we want to put out announcements for events that are happening each month and everything.
We certainly can. It would just be a matter of making sure we get the information to her timely to put on there and take off, but absolutely.
Okay.
Or get it to her with like a start and end date.
Yes.
So we don't have to do a second communication saying like,
But even for Art Cart and the paint nights and things like that, it'd just be nice to have somewhere that people can go.
Like an arts and culture newsletter? I'm just kidding.
she's not kidding, that's not a bad idea.
No.
As programming expands, it's not a like an addendum to the newsletter, something that's, you know, I see with the recent news that I'm really excited to hear an update from council person Lisa Wong about with the community center. Programming is expanding in our small but mighty town. There's lots of potential for program expansion, so
Maybe
that's
that's
a good
the better
vision.
question. Is there a citywide calendar of events somewhere that we can just link into instead?
Yes. Yep. Right on the homepage there is of our website too. And
Maybe I should go to that webpage sometime.
yeah. We can certainly add whatever we want to that.
Okay. Yep.
Any other questions regarding that? I do have a couple other things. Otherwise. Alrighty. So the other parts is, so just to clarify, as far as like a vendor, did we need to make a motion on how much we could spend, or is it as long as we work with the city, we're good?
If you work with the city, you're good. Yep.
No need.
I think if we go over 4,000, we might want to make a motion.
5,000, because is the motion to reallocate the snowy funds?
That would be the motion if we want to do that.
Right. Yeah, I think if we went beyond what we had agreed on as our budget for that line item, we should probably bring it back. But it sounds like we still need some information from the vendor before we move forward. So
Yeah.
does that make sense?
That sounds good. We will bring that back.
There's a chance we might be able to do this within budget, though. Looking at some of these quotes, there's a chance.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if we need to make a pivot or a motion, we could probably do it as at our next meeting without delaying the launch.
I like that. And so I think otherwise, as like our group starts going, like we might ask Sarah to blast you guys to kind of get the word out. Once like we start getting call for artists or kind of want community involvement, and yeah, and then also if you guys have any suggestions regarding Roddy's boxes, I think you can let us know. Otherwise, we'll have to just kind of come up with stuff. But
I'm just interested to see what kind of art you come up with.
yeah.
In my personal opinion, Instagrammable and sepia don't necessarily go together.
Good
I
to know.
agree, but I
Okay, thank you.
but there are ways that we could be creative, because remember there are two utility boxes in front of Roddy's, and if there's like a sepia image that gets split between the two, where the person is the one sitting in the middle, holding out two beer, like you know what I mean, like it could be something like holding out two beverages, or a car's front end on one side and the back end on the other, and the person's like pretending to sit and drive. Like there are ways you can be creative with the space that's there, but it's just going to take some outside the utility box thinking.
One comment that I have, when I think of sepia, that's the brownish tones.
Toned. Yep.
And then that represents the historical images that we've seen in North St. Paul. I think we can achieve something similar, but with color. So with the printing background, I've seen a lot of work done with a color background, but then you've got the black halftone on top of it, which might be more colorful and get that Instagrammable. So it's just something, there's different ways to achieve that nostalgic look. Yep, and maybe not use the brown, but it's something we can talk about down the road.
I have a question for Sarah, maybe. So we were looking at these vendors, and C did a fantastic job of noting, like, for example, Image 360 in Woodbury is a woman-owned and operated business.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, small, women-owned, minority-owned businesses, their expenses they can't absorb as much, so they defer them to their customers, and their end product ends up being more expensive. So their bids come in higher, and in the RFP world, the bid goes to the lowest bidder. But if there is interest in a BIPOC-owned business, a woman-owned business, and the city supporting that as their vendor, is there any room for additional city fund support to help us stay within our 4,000, like where the commission could allocate the $4,000?
Right.
But if choosing a smaller vendor means the expenses are high, would the city manager consider potentially helping to absorb some of that cost?
I don't know the answer, but I can certainly ask. I think it's worth
Yeah.
bringing that up with him. Yeah.
The International Women's Day.
Yes.
Be international.
All women's.
Right.
Yes.
Hey.
Who runs the world?
Girls. Girls.
Yeah, I will certainly ask that though. Yes.
You don't have to ask him who runs the world. It's
No. Well,
Depends on your relationship, I guess.
he'd be fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe depending on the amount, though, you may have some flexibility to select a whatever vendor, but yeah, again, depends on the amount. Cool.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Good job, you guys. You did a lot
Yes.
of work.
Phew. Awesome work. Art cart.
We don't have an update on that. That probably in April is when I'll start moving forward with that. June is when we will probably get the art cart out, once the kids are out of school. So we'll start planning then and getting together with our subcommittee, in April, and have it ready to go. I'm thinking by June.
Okay. We also got word that City Night at the car show is going to be June 9th, and they did offer if we want to bring the art cart there as well. So keeping that in mind.
Okay,
Let's do that.
that might be the launch of our art cart. Yeah.
Love it. Everybody save the date, June 9th. Lisa, two things. My son is in drumline, and so one of the things that somebody was talking to me about was more opportunities for performances. Do you think we could incorporate maybe some like students, performers,
Oh, yes.
performing groups
Of course.
with the art cart dates whenever we decide what those are? And then, God, where was I? I don't know. They're trying to do more with the ice rinks. There's one at North St. Paul, or at North High School, and one at Tartan, but obviously we care about the North High School one. God, what is my deal? And so maybe having an art cart event this summer at Polar Ice Arena might be something to look at. I don't know. I don't know what their
Who
final
owns
deal
Polar
is.
Ice Arena?
The
Do we
school
know
district
this?
does.
Is the school district interested in having a mural put on Polar Ice Arena?
We actually have an idea for a mural on one of the district buildings, yes. But, so that's one of the things I asked Sarah to send around next week. I'll be out of town, but the 16th, the school district is having realtors, city leaders, elected officials, anybody who wants to go and interact with the school district. If you have time and are interested, it's during the workday, so it's not very convenient, but I think it'd be a great presence for us to be at, especially with all of the collaborations we want to do. So if anybody's available, that'd be great.
Are you going, Carrie?
I'll be out of town, so I can't go, unfortunately. But
I'm going.
oh, are you going? City council lady?
I think I did see Sarah send that out,
Yeah.
and I did notice that it was during the workday.
I know, yeah. It's one thing if I can just sneak away for a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, so if we get some more school or district partnerships, I think that's a good thing. Okay, anything else on that?
I just have a question. So as far as the student performance at the art cart, is that something that we can talk about when we start planning the activities? Would you
I think so, yeah.
be involved
Yeah.
with that? Okay.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
You can help me coordinate it.
Yeah, I just wanted to
And,
bring it up before I
Amanda, you're
forgot.
on the subcommittee as well, right? Okay.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Paint and sip.
Paint and Sip is scheduled and it's on the website for open for registration. I have to say this picture is a little bit distorted. That's, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but if you saw online, it's more round rather than, so anyways, that's just an image of the spring bunnies that we're gonna be painting. There wasn't a big, well, actually, I think one person had signed up, but Carrie did promote it in the newsletter that went out today, so I'm hoping that that will help get the word out. And people, one of the things I noticed is that you had to actually go into the article or registration to see what was being painted, whereas now she promoted it, so you can see what it is, and then it's, paint night, and you don't really have to go dig to find out what you're gonna be painting. So thank you to Carrie and Sarah for getting that promoted. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Lisa Roddy's is also interested in being a potential host for a paint and sip night.
Oh,
Great.
fantastic.
I think the only barriers are they don't want it to interfere with, like, they do dart leagues, I think, in that back raised area, but they do have tables that can be brought out. When we were there, they had, if any residents are listening, not to promote something, but they do purse bingo there.
Oh,
Like on Thursdays. That's the night we met, right? Was a Thursday. So just local community events. Coach bingo, coach purse bingo or something. I don't know.
Got it.
Yeah. But the whole back area for the most part was empty at the first part of our meeting.
Yeah, but I don't know if it would be able to host 25 people though with tables.
They let us do it as a fundraiser too?
I didn't ask. But they were really curious,
Yeah, we
especially when we said it was not necessarily meant or intended for children. They were like, oh, it's adults? Like, come on in.
no, we can definitely work with them. We can
Yeah.
limit the group size to however many they can accommodate. So yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
It's Kelly, right? Was it Kelly or Kelly? So Kelly, we can share her contact information with you too. if you
Sounds good.
wanted.
Yeah, please do.
I do have, now it's my turn to be negative. I do have a question with the paint along. If we don't see more registrants, what's the minimum you want to do a paint along for? Like if we see 3 people sign up this time?
Are we at more than one?
No,
We're still at just one?
But it just got promoted.
just got
today.
promoted. So I think it will go up, but I don't want to have it be 3 people and you go and,
You know what, I don't feel that's a waste of my time.
Okay.
If I have 3 people and they want to do it, I'm more than willing, unless you guys feel differently.
It's your time.
Okay.
okay, wonderful.
That is something though that Tom, I'm sorry, Sarah.
No, go ahead. You're good.
That is something that Tom asked me to ask everyone if we could try to help get the word out about the paint and sip night. Lisa, do you have like a 1-pager that we could, like with the link for signing up that we could, or could we, maybe we could drag it from
Drafts,
Carrie's
yeah.
thing that went out today and just kind of send it around to your North St. Paul friends or local friends?
Posted on the Facebook page as well.
Ooh, that's a great idea. Yeah, and then we can just reshare it. Any other ideas for how to get the word out?
I wonder if, because this is our initial, if there's a discount we could offer, like, start it, at a lower level so that, people like who are like, I don't know what this is, but it's cheap and it seems fun and let's
Yeah,
go.
we
do it."
actually originally talked about just having a $20 fee.
We could change that and the person that registered gets a refund for the difference.
Maybe even
What about
15.
Oh, I was going to say 10.
Okay, 10. Yeah, 10.
So the event is 2 weeks from tomorrow.
To the door first.
So I think
Then they can
what the blast could be from like a marketing standpoint is half off if you register before March 16th or something like that to see if that jumps.
We can try that.
I wouldn't even put it like Lisa was saying, like just get people in the door, you know, like have them try it so that when, you know, like when they try it, they could be like, oh, you know, like next one,
yeah.
let's.
Because it's our first event, it's half off or what, like something, you know what I mean? Like a draw so that, because the people that do it, if they will have fun,
Yep.
they're going to want to come back or tell their friends or be like, I want to get all my girlfriends to come or.
Yeah, however Carrie wants to promote it, we're willing to go down to a minimum of $10.
Okay.
Speaking of a further one, do you have a next date to then tell people about at the March 23rd one?
I don't, but I'll look at the calendar and have something, something before the 23rd, and I can promote it then.
Were we planning on doing these monthly or quarterly or?
I think we said
can't com-
quarterly.
Yeah, we said quarterly. I think initially we can probably ramp it up, and I can do a couple just to kick it off, and then people can watch for it.
At the promotion for the next one, it might be helpful if you already have your image picked out too.
Yes, and I will get that painted as well, so, yep.
What's next?
Carrie sent me a picture that she would like to do, and it is cherry blossoms.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that.
Cool.
And I'm always open to suggestions, too. So if you guys have something that you think would be fun, just let me know. And I'll come up with my own version of it.
Would say say like if you only got like one or two, did you say that you'd still continue with paint night?
She'd execute the event, yeah.
And so I wonder, you know, like would it benefit the would it be a benefit if like ACC showed up to kind of like, you know, support and kind of like, you know, boost up those. Participate. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that those that are there could be like, ooh, there's people here. It's fun. It's, you know, like, because the more people, the more enjoyable. Because I was excited about it.
Absolutely.
Should we be good citizens and register as well and pay the,
$10 fee.
yeah.
I'm the only registrant so far. So
You called yourself out on that. No one was admitting
Yeah.
it was you, Carrie.
I wasn't going to do that to her, but
I love it. Who else would it be?
It'll be fun.
It's a great date.
Should have known.
That's a great date.
If it is ACC members attending only, does that violate open meeting law?
Let's talk about
If you don't talk
stuff.
about
The business of the commission, right?
As long as we keep it social.
right. I'm trying to remember if I have to post it or not because I know they posted like an outing for a different group, so I might have to do that.
It's not like
but
a
got time.
commission-sponsored outing. If we as citizens of North St. Paul choose to register for this, would you have to publicly announce that?
I think I have to publicly announce it and say that you won't be speaking about anything, so people know. Formalities. Easy,
Just wait until the day of and then show up.
easy. Yeah.
Let's also have, do you have any extra like art vessels that we could just accept donations in since this is a fundraiser?
I don't think we.
What do you mean by art vessels?
Just like a vase or a bowl or something.
I don't think we can do the donations right now.
So how are we able to collect?
Generate funds.
Not through donations.
Okay, but if I'm paying
Yes.
to attend this event.
Yeah, because that's a registration, not a donation.
Okay, and then if I tip Lisa for the great job that she does,
No, I can't take
Can't do that.
tips.
if I drop $30 on the ground while I'm there,
According
Now you
to
said it.
the city attorney, any donations to the city need to be brought to city council.
well, that's fine. But just say that it's earmarked for Arts and Culture Commission.
But then they couldn't donate that night.
They'd have to,
They'd have to
they'd
come
have
to
to,
city.
like, they'd have to come to City Hall with a check, and then
Check, yeah.
someone from City Hall then presents this to the council to accept the donation.
So when I donate something to the school district, I'm able to donate through any school I choose to donate to. And each school has a form that they can fill out and say, yes, you've donated this item. It's valued at $1. Congratulations. But you're telling me that as a city commission, we are not able to also do that.
The public can come in and donate on our behalf to earmark their donation. Donations have very specific legal rules that if the donor has an intent for something, the person accepting it has to honor that intent.
I
And
do
so,
not dispute
and that's,
that at
that's,
all,
that's the
but
same thing that you're saying, so
I'm
that's,
saying,
but we can't do it at.
We can't solicit it,
well, we can't
more or
solicit
less.
it,
So having a jar out there is soliciting it.
even if we just have it off to the side.
Yes.
I think that's ridiculous and a little bit overly interpreted, but I trust you. We'll move on. Art festival, how's that?
Wait, was there an age limit again?
16 and up.
16.
You know, okay.
So I
Do you have
count.
someone that's younger?
No, but just wondering about like, where to blast the information.
The art festival is running into some roadblocks. We are working with the Parks Council, and we have had a couple of meetings. Our original date was September 23rd. It turns out that that date is also the Church of St. Peter's Festival.
Oh, we can't go against that.
So we're not going against that. We, as a subcommittee with the Parks Commission Subcommittee, met and decided on September 16th, so the week before. We were shooting to have this event on the downtown street and incorporate businesses there and parking, but we have been denied access for closing the street. And so
By the, who denied access?
city manager. And that's kind of where we're sitting right now. We are meeting later this month, but
Which street did we want to use? Just Main
Downtown.
Street?
7th. And since there was construction going on that might hinder at the same time, we were only going to use space from Margaret to Century, which is, sounds like, which is where the history cruisers were going to use this summer as well. But we're a little stalled now to choose location and date then.
So I know that there's a proposal that's going to be coming from Parks as well for Housy. I think they're a little excited to potentially use that as the site because of the renovations that they've been working on that should be done by that point. Then they can showcase that as well as have this festival. So just wanted to throw that out there too, that they're going to discuss that. But yeah, the 7th one did get shut down.
Housy's the one that's right back here, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where they had the food truck park,
Yeah.
and that's not
The,
a bad idea.
Our biggest concern so far with that is parking wise, because it's essentially a neighborhood park. It doesn't really have a parking lot. It's not,
So what the proposal is, I should have clarified too, would be there's that parking lot that's right behind the businesses on 7th. It's actually on Charles, that we could use.
Okay.
And then potentially Brian was okay with blocking off Charles and maybe having the food trucks lined up there. And that would kind of walk you down to Housy. So it's only about a block and a half, 2 blocks that people would walk. So that was an option for the parking because that is a issue there.
I like that idea, but I'd also propose that we create some accessible parking that's not a block and a half walk,
Right.
if possible.
otherwise, we were looking still at Casey Lake, because Casey Lake was still available that September 16th as well.
Great.
So my update is no updates until next month.
So say like if it rained, it'd still be a go, or is there a rain?
It was rain or shine last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Typically, that's how I've seen events too, rain or shine.
And you'd be surprised how many people show up when it's raining.
Oh, yes, yes.
Almost more because they think no one's going to be there.
Unless it's a thunderstorm and then I'm stuck inside my tent.
Wow, well, thank you. I think that covers our subcommittee updates. Looks like our next item is cultural groups in North St. Paul.
Yes, so I have started the list, as you'll see in the back of the packet there, with some cultural groups within North St. Paul. Carrie has been wonderful with helping me reach out to the school district. So we're kind of working on a plan there to get some more contacts through the school district. But I wanted to bring this to the group just so you could actually see it. And if any ideas come to you of places that I can add on here, that would be wonderful. And then as a group, if we decide we want to reach out to some of these groups and invite them to our meetings, we can present them with a certificate, whatever we decide to do. This is just an ongoing list, so wanted to present it.
I had no idea about the hip hop dance school. I'm very excited. I got to check out their website.
If the Unified Martial Arts Academy is on here, how come the other martial arts school on 7th isn't included in here?
Probably just missed it.
Okay.
Any other thoughts off the top?
Do you know the name of the other one, or do you need information on that?
Yeah, if you want to send me information
It's-
or the name of it.
I know. I've been looking up martial arts schools, and it's like a let's see, what is it called? Dragons Kung Fu, I think.
Okay.
But there's also Morris Martial Arts. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
a couple, yeah.
I'll look that up and add it to the list. Thank you.
You may be able to find more cultural groups like in the general area rather than
Just the
3 square miles. Yeah. So, but all the lines are very fine, and so, yeah, I think there are probably some in and around the near by area.
I would propose maybe putting the ones that are in our general area with a certain highlighted background, but then including the other cultural affinity groups that service North St. Paul but might not necessarily be in North St. Paul, so that there's some sort of designation between the two. Not that any one is more important than the other, but I think it's also important to support what's here too, to keep them here.
Absolutely.
So
Yes, I can do that.
great work though.
Great. Any other old business to discuss? Reports from staff?
The only other thing I have, besides the stuff I've already brought up, is city emails for each of you will be coming. They are working on that. Their request went in on Monday. So as soon as they're ready, I'll send it out, and you'll be ready to go. That's all I got.
Does the city allow for affinity emails? Like vanity emails? Like I can make up my own?
Don't think so.
Probably not.
No.
You can take that up with Metro INET.
Gonna be Commissioner Maher.
Okayest commissioner at cityofnorthstpaul.org. Okayest arts commissioner. that would be my choice.
Commissioner.
All right. Reports from commissioners. You want to start?
I have nothing.
Great. See?
So Carrie, I think, so I know you mentioned that you guys applied for that grant opportunity with the Minneapolis Arts Council, I believe. And I think you brought it up at one of the previous times about grant opportunities, right? Was that the only one? Because I was also wondering about this, the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation. Was that one of the ones that you were also talking about, the community capacity grant? Yeah. Okay. Because I did see that there were, they're open 2 times a year for that opportunity, and I signed up and said I was part of North St. Paul. I don't know if they sent you guys an email and said, do you approve for her to join, But anyways, it's so that, if we were interested in applying for grants, we could. And it also, allows them to then also send us emails to notify us of opportunities. So I just wanted to say that. But, I think I know that they closed the last one in February. So the next one will probably be in June. And so I think if we were interested, we should prep so that we'd be ready to apply for that since it's mid-March already.
Yeah, time's flying.
Yeah.
Good call.
Okay, that's all.
Awesome. Great. Anything for you?
Nope.
Great, Lisa.
I don't have anything.
Awesome. Reports from council liaison.
So we had our meeting last night, and we had a workshop dedicated to the community center, and so there was a brief timeline, and it brought us all the way to, I guess at least to now, which is with contractors or consultants who are working with us to develop a plan, a feasibility plan, what's it look like, an engagement plan with the community as well. So that's coming down the pike. And then we also have some lobbyists helping us with funding. So seeking funding on the federal and state levels. And I believe this is the first time we've asked for funding, so this is in a while at least, to my knowledge, and so that's a great thing. So hopefully we get some monies for it. I think that there's still a lot of questions about how much it will cost and what the uses will be. There's a lot of unknowns still, so we're just kind of sitting and waiting. Typically, we wouldn't go for funding at this point, but because of our surplus at the state, we had to. Yeah, so, yes,
I have a question once you're done.
I am done pretty much. I'll take, any questions.
Do you remember when you said that with the new council members that you guys would take a city tour?
Aha!
Is that still the works, and are we?
That's fair. That's a fair question. Yeah. I'll ask Brian.
I read through the notes that they had published from last night briefly, and I will say that the tone was very positive and encouraging. And it looked like it was a lot of work. So good job.
Yeah. Overall, I think there's going to be, differences in, how things might look and, priorities. But certainly I think it's, at this point, we're just taking the next step and hopefully it's favorable.
There's going to be more public engagement opportunities in June, so be ready to show up.
Yes, thank you for that. Mm-hmm.
Keep your fingers crossed that we get that funding.
Yes, so I think we have a bill that's due this Friday, and then another one that's due in a couple weeks. And so, hopefully we should be knowing by the end of this month, I think, or fairly soon. Mm-hmm. How much was requested? We requested from McCollum's office $2 million, and then from the feds, I cannot remember right now. I think it was 5. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's to complete deferred maintenance, right?
I mean, a lot of the feasibility came back. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We haven't been great stewards of that building over the years, but I think, that's an option. It could be coming down to the cost is just even too much to renovate. Do we tear down and just completely rebuild? Does that make more sense with the community needs? Again, it'll come down to what the community and everyone says. They're going to take a lot of that information and really, I think they're going to focus a lot on it. So that'll shape it.
It is a 40-year-old building, right?
It is 1991, so it's 32.
Only because I got married that year.
But lots of great things happening with it. And that's where I got the feed into of our programs expanding, because there was a proposal to have Parks and Rec programming happen at the community center.
Yeah, and part of the vision that was pitched was also a multicultural component, and then also kind of a climate sustainability component where You know, we have EV chargers and maybe even education around renewables, which would make sense. And we're part of the MMPA, which is just I think about 20 different cities. And so we're on a different, you know, utility system, which I think has its own advantages. So I think education could be one of them.
You know, when I participated in this like training workshop on strategic planning, and I was thinking a little bit about, you know, like how North St. Paul is locked, right? So expansion opportunities are somewhat limited as far as like sprawling, but I wonder if, sorry, this is more of a comment, but if there's room for like, if there's like ever zoning things that we might look into to expand upwards, right? And like, anyways, because, you know, we got to grow our little North St. Paul.
Well, that's kind of what they're
Yes.
doing with the Lilly building.
Yeah, so we did have an exception to that, and so the Planning Commission approved it, and so did the council. So I think we're up to 5 stories on that building, and then it's generally 4 across the board. So I can see, you know, things going up. One other thing I'll add is that the EDA is looking at putting in kind of a little bit of a green patch or a green space, if you will, in between Sidewinders and
There's, I think, the tattoo shop.
yeah, what's his name?
Gabe.
Gabe. Yeah, he's really nice. But yeah, in between there, so they're kind of looking at that as like potentially a temporary green space. So they're gonna probably throw some sod down, few benches, what have you, and just kind of dress it up a little bit so people have space to hang out.
I love it. That's great.
Sorry, one more thing. Did you guys determine about the aesthetics of the patio furniture? Or not patio, but, you know.
The outdoor seating.
Yes.
Yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot of further discussion about the aesthetics of it. If anything, it will probably come down to staff as they review the permits. I think most of the thing is just a little bit of cohesion and but if there's, you know, recommendations, I suppose you could always recommend that to staff or Sarah.
Just not like broken lawn chairs and
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, was to make sure that they're durable and safe and, you know, just not like,
The white plastic furniture.
right. So just kind of make it look a little bit more put together, I guess, so formal.
Is the gardening group still around?
They are not, to my knowledge. I think they disbanded.
With the green space and even with the revamp of downtown, has there been consideration of like reincorporating the gardens that have been lost to help the watershed and like rain gardens, etc.? This might be the wrong meeting for that question.
Like, we need Morgan for that one.
Yeah, Park and Rec is touching on
Okay.
community gardens,
Okay.
and they're kind of scouting.
But not even, this isn't a community garden though. This is like installing a rain garden in downtown or
Yeah.
like as part of the green space, or there's benefits to rain gardens for the watershed. That's not just like parks and recs.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, you know, provide a discount to properties that have rain gardens. I think it's like 36% or something off your sewer. But anyways, I don't think that that's a feature that was included because they're considering that may be a temporary green space because of potential future redevelopment. So,
And the intention was to keep the cost minimal.
right. So there was discussion about, you know, also just being mindful that, you know, we still need a downtown park. And that's certainly within the redevelopment master plan. And Brandy spent a lot of time on that, so she's well aware of that document. But just certainly making sure that that's at top of mind.
Is now the time where we get into a circle and do a group high five? Go team. That's awesome. It's so exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot happening, that's for sure.
Good. Anything else? Ready to adjourn at 7:55?
I motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks. See you in April.
All right.